Want to find out how this half of the month is panning out for your zodiac sign and how to get the best out of it? Come and join YILDIZ Readings 5D and we'll have a look. A very warm welcome to YILDIZ Readings 5D. For those of you that don't know, I'm a psychic medium. I cover astrology, soul coaching, twin flame path and more. I am live weekly, so please click the bell and subscribe. And if you do want more creative content like this, come and join the tribe. Additionally, we have the members zone, so if you do want the creative content early and have a coaching room, we do have the join button. For all booking information, the link is directly below. Without further ado, let's get into the update for your zodiac sign for your bi-monthly report. For all the dates, retrogrades and aspects occurring, as well as the great days and the difficult days, I have created a report after this update for your zodiac sign, and it is incorporated inside. You can stream forward now, or let's jump into your update. Welcome, beautiful Libra. We're here to do your bi-monthly report. You can stream forward and stream back to the houses. We are covering your love life, career in no set order, family, finances and more. And I do have the important dates towards the end of the video. If you're needing a booking, you can click the link directly below. And please remember to click the bell and sub for all the love and romance updates. Now let's get all of you prepared for the area of romance, be it you're coupled, singled or a twin flame, which I do twin flame updates weekly. Please come join us. They're done every Friday, Western Australian time. And for those of you in America, it will be your PM the day before, which will be Thursday. Now, regardless of whether you are coupled, singled or a twin flame, the previous moon transit we moved through was a super moon, and it was a full moon in the house of Scorpio. For you guys, the moon very much may have transformed the element of your self-esteem and really looking inside yourself to reflect upon those previous areas of life. Very much from an emotional value inside of your relationship sector, it was really the give and take and the deeper intimacy and how that was serving you and how to actually have that need. So if there were crosswires in connections or emotions coming up relating to people in the past, it may have been due to this factor. Moving ahead, what you can find in the month of May is we can be more inclined to be emotional. So we do need to really have that nav man on this month and pour that energy into positive areas. And this can be exercising the art of communication and patience. Many of you can be really turning over a new leaf when it does come to your appearance, but definitely what your requirements are inside of the element of love. We do currently have the sun in the house of Taurus, so a lot of your energy will be put into these connections as long as the give and take is in order. And it is being in the 8th house very Scorpio in nature, and a lot of these themes still can be playing out for the next 2 weeks, even though we do have a new moon occurring in the house of Taurus. So it can be this renewed frequency coming through. Potentially a lot of you during this transit can actually have communication from people from the past, and a lot of subjects relating to the past can be coming up. Now, love for all zodiac signs in the element of Venus will be coming up for a big review, and that can be a new negotiation coming through. Now, a lot of us really, because we do have Juno in retrograde in the house of Sagittarius, and the eclipse this month is occurring in Sagittarius, and the South Node is in the house of Sagittarius. Why am I mentioning this? You might find, especially with Juno in Sagittarius, many people will be questioning the element of commitments during this retrograde cycle. So if you feel very confused or like you're on the fence and you're going into that negotiation element within your connections, it may be the reason why. Now, it is retrograde for about 13 to 17 weeks. We also have Mars in the house of Cancer. So the balance between your work, you know, your family related dynamics, things going on, being organized and having a space to, you know, really unwind is going to help you. Burning the candle at both ends and not articulating your feelings can directly impact you this month. So it's really important to communicate effectively. We're also going to be having Mercury in retrograde, and this can bring people from the past back, but we do need to practice caution during this time, both because we do have Juno in retrograde in the house of Sagittarius, which is very much our traditional marriage, it's our spiritual beliefs, it's our values, and with Mercury in the house of Gemini in retrograde this month, we may be more independent and fierce to do with our emotions, so it can be overprotectiveness, wounds directly coming up, too much on our plate, and pouring our energy into those areas potentially at the higher octane, but it is in its detriment in the house of Cancer. This doesn't mean that you can't have successful connections during this transit. It's more than likely not a great time to start a brand new connection. Just go easy into it, so to speak. But when it does come to old connections coming back from the past, practice discernment in a sense of looking at things, really assessing whether it matches your value systems. We really can't shift a person to match our value systems. It is or it isn't. So, but taking the time to investigate, seeing the benefits in it. But this is really a very strong time where codependency can become problematic, and that's because, number one, Gemini and Mercury in the house of Gemini in retrograde will be really looking at our actions, our words, our social life and what we do, the steps inside of love that we take, as well as Sagittarius in the element of Juno in retrograde. Currently, you can be fiercely independent and really not want to be tied down. Does that mean you can't have a connection that goes the distance, or that it's not going to be successful? No, not at all. And it is a very temporary transit, but it's the time in which we're going to be internalizing things, accidentally, potentially projecting them. But it's almost like the sensor needs to be pushed in order to see where your reality is. So it's really not going to be one of those times where we can poker face situations in our love life. And if there is something to come up to be reviewed, it is going to come up. Now, I do see lots of changes happening, really surrounding home and family. Very important to, have that healthy balance. Jupiter also in the house of Pisces. You're going to be looking at the healthy give and take, emotions from the past, how things are directly affecting your psychology can be coming up. But ultimately speaking, some of you could also be taking trips, and that can be with love interests and other people. And definitely from a point of view of blast from the past, especially for those of you in the realm of love, be it your twin or soulmate, Juno retrograde and Mercury retrograde this month, yes, those blasts from the past can come up. Now, I will be mentioning the moon phase through these videos so that I can help explain where it hits for each of you, in what area, and how it's going to directly affect it. I would say this can be very passionate for Libras. This also can be a point where negotiation on the healthy give and take is there. And it's also very, really diving deep, being that Taurus is landing in your 8th house. So if things you felt had ended, it's sort of like a tower moment and then a resurrection, a return of the Mac, so to speak. It's like there's going to be a rebuild, but it's going to be on more sturdy ground. It's more rational. It's more with the give and take, and it's the healthy codependency house. So this can be shared resources. It can be looking at paperwork and its ability. It can be deepening those commitments and connections. So it can be a very positive time, but moving through that, we will mention in the next video I do for your zodiac sign how the next moon phase is going to affect it. I also feel a lot of you can look very luxurious this month and really be changing things up, but buying more quality when it does come to attracting a partner. So you'll find even your demeanor, your very Venus and element, you may be really beautifying yourself, upgrading your wardrobe to attract a suitor during this time. Just pay attention to that scorpionic element that we moved through last month. Self-esteem may be there. And definitely with the 6th house and Jupiter in that house, dealing with the emotion, and getting your health in order and creating that healthy balance and, diving deep into that, but also spending a bit of time of self-care and self-love will attract the perfect suitor. Now, I definitely see on the 11th, there can be subjects relating to travel, movement, your value systems, your connections, and it is very Juno in relevancy with it being in the 9th house. Some of you relating to both your communication style, the steps you're going to directly take, the action. Something is coming to a head, especially with it making a conjunction to the nodes. And it's really, I really feel this month, it's putting our money where our mouth is. And that can be our love interest and it can be us, but it's really culminating it. Some of you may be taking a trip. This can be to visit individuals, and it can be plans that you're making in the bigger picture, as well as conversations relating to your value systems. You may believe in marriage, you may not believe in marriage, how that directly makes you feel. But it's also, even if you are single, the energy and the element of love, lots of healing in these areas I've mentioned will come up, and we can be regressing and assessing these things to set that foundation in order. Now, beautiful Libras, this can be an extremely active month for your zodiac sign in the career sector. If you're looking for a job, my strongest advice would be start putting your resumes out now. Another thing I would say is when it does come to communication and movement, if you're doing upgrades, both Pluto, retrograde at the moment, home-based businesses can be coming up for review. Dynamics happening at home in your schedule. Really having that quality system for those of you that are working at home, to expect the unexpected. But it's almost like you'll be fine-tuning it. So those of you that are working from home or your day-to-day routine, fine-tuning it to get the best out of your employment sector. For those of you seeking employment at this time, definitely get those resumes out now. Think outside the box. If you want a personal booking and you need me to have a look at your chart and psychically view it, feel free to jump in and book a reading. Now, I would say your chart relating to your career sector is lit up, and this can be a great time if you pour your energy into it, especially because we do have Jupiter moving into the house of Pisces this month. It is your 6th house, and it can be the house of hidden enemies, and it can be something I always look at retrogrades as fine-tuning. Try not to look at the retrogrades as a time not to do anything, and it's not safe. That's really not going to benefit that forward movement, and it's a lot of very unproductive time. It's used the transits to fine-tune life to get the best out of things. Now, 10th house can also be fine-tuning your reputation. It can be the way people are seeing you, really spiritually working on yourself. What you feel your destiny is, as well as the career sector. So pouring your energy into it, especially if wounds come up, try not to second guess yourself. If you get quite in a pickle, be careful of our words. So a lot of throat chakra can come through for you guys, and there can be sudden movements, especially for those of you that are online or you're blogging or working from home. Really getting the house well and truly organized before mid-month will really benefit you, because I do see it really getting more busy for you guys by mid-May than slowing down, and it's always the way during Mercury retrograde. It is going to be in the house of Gemini, which does connect into your 9th house. So if you are blogging or talking to people overseas or even having to travel, you'll be looking at those things and maybe even learning from the past. This can be if you're educating someone or you're going back to school and you're thinking how that served you, can you reapply it? It's really going to be a very personal transit, but you can find that this can be an extremely busy time. Okay, now we did have the full moon in Scorpio last month, which the residue energy will be moving over to this month. You can still have themes relating to that area playing out, moving into the new moon in Taurus. And as I mentioned, this can be anything in your business relating to paperwork, documentation, assessing contracts, maybe even signing a contract, finding the correct people to, connect in with. So it may be that you're moving from one tier level to another. Some of you can be going up a tier level at work. Others of you are assessing that, and it's really important and it's great that we're having the new moon prior to Mercury going retrograde. that we can actually clearly really assess those things. It's not to say that there won't be times of us being in a little bit of a pickle as we are proceeding forward. You can look back to last year, and some slight themes can be coming through from last year, but we've got to understand we're different to that now. So we're not going to relate to the circumstances, and they may be similar circumstances playing out, not necessarily in the exact same fashion. But we're closing out a cycle and ushering in a new one, and it can be very heightened in energy. You may also be really looking at your appearance and, for presentations, changing your wardrobe up, as I mentioned before, and your demeanor may be very personable as we move forward. If you're working with a group, be careful of people's emotions. Try to not take things personal. People can be super tense this month due to the fact that we have Mars and Cancer. And each one of us have it landing in a different house. So it may be relating into a different situation. Mars and Cancer, it's like emotions and, fire. It's a recipe for disaster if we're unaware. So can things be irritating us? I use the analogy as a parent waking up in the middle of the night, needing to go to get a glass of water, really having a bad night maybe, and walking in the dark and stepping all over Lego or, maybe even a pin. So it's uncomfortable, irritational, fatiguing. You'll have a lot of things relating to, emotions of how we cope with things. And the important thing will be, in order to expand and go the distance, it's self-paced, especially by mid-month. So, leave work at home, come home for those of you that are physically working, have a shower, neutralize the energy, try and take time to have a break and really tune out of it. The beautiful thing this month will be, in the element of business, whatever adversity you move through, the success you'll have on the opposite side of it. Don't sort of, if you're having a drama, sweep it under the carpet and say, hey, I'll deal with that after the retrogrades. Try and deal with it as you go through. And it's really fine-tuning and gaining skills that you'll be 20 steps ahead of the game in your career sector than those that were just sitting waiting for the transits to go direct, or saying, hey, it's too hard, it's in the too hard basket. We are in the vibration number 5 this year. It does mean a lot of changes. It can be frustrating, and there may be a lot of things on the media, so be careful of things you're watching. It is collective consciousness, but emotionally there can be things that are really affecting us, and initially we may feel, hey, this is happening to me, and I feel by the time we have Jupiter transiting into the house of Pisces, we spiritually will realize, and it may be a circumstance that happens on the collective level, that we have to do this together. Let's have a talk about the money sector, Libra. Now, the one thing I can say is, after the full moon in Scorpio we had last month, plus because we have Pluto retrograde, this can be a time for you to fine-tune your finances. And definitely because we do have Mars transiting in the house of Cancer, which does link into your career sector, every little step you do in coming correct and pouring your energy into that will reap dividends, especially in the bigger scope of the picture. Quality systems, changing things up. There can be expenses relating to home at the moment. So, really you'll find that even the way you're spending your money will be more on the element of, does this last a long time? Is it functional? Due to the fact we have Pluto in Capricorn. So if you do tend to find maybe any technology related devices or electric things are well and truly on the way out and needing repair, better to buy them towards the first 2 weeks of the month than at the end. It's not to say you can't, buy them after, but do bear in mind that well and truly what you're buying, and you're reading the fine print, and keep your receipts. I feel most of this month, a lot of you will be looking at the bigger picture, the luxury high-end items you're wanting. This could be, again, technology, furniture, clothing. I really see you're wanting to, really have, if you're spending money, it's going to be on things that last. When it does come to paperwork, it's fine-tuning things, especially because you have the 8th house. It's really not the greatest of time, although I can't give you legal advice. It's not the best of times to go into any dispute with an individual. You know, better off to wait till after we have Mercury retrograde, where that, you know, can really be resolved to a point, but it can be a very testing time, especially with Mars and Cancer. You may be more inclined towards the 18th and 19th to really need a little bit of time off, and you can be more inclined to spend a little bit more, and this can be on social activities. If you do have anything that you're needing to pay around that time, you know, just keep a little bit of cash behind for it. Emotions relating to you wanting to tap out, or block the day out and take a spiritual day for self. Also, when it does come to the full moon in Scorpio, which is very much your 2nd house placement, your source of income, there can be emotions relating to this on the 24th and the 25th. So keep those dates in mind, and definitely towards the end of the video, pay attention to the information I've provided, and that can help you navigate through that compass. Really, whatever steps you're making this month, you will lean more towards the bigger picture. And what do I mean by that? In the financial realm, be it its investments, be it its, you know, looking at your bank statements, looking at where you're spending. I see this as a great quality control month. It's not to say you can't spend. You can spend, but you're being more selective about what you're doing, because a lot of you potentially can be making big plans this month. Now, as for the financial gains, that definitely can be there, providing you are pouring your energy into it, and even fine-tuning. It can be something as simple as the money grows, because you're really quality controlling what you're spending cash on. You're being more in awareness of it, but definitely you could find that you are wanting to be more social, so expenses can relate to that, especially to do with long distance travel. Now we're going to talk about the element of family. Now, number one, some of those things are completely out of our control. It may be the individuals that are living with us. It can be mother energy, especially because it's, the emotions relating to it can be coming from the zodiac sign Cancer. And also because we do have Saturn this month going retrograde in the house of Aquarius, which does link to your 5th house. So the one thing I will say is pretty much from the 1st through to the 5th, you can have a lot of subjects to do with home, your daily routine. Your emotions can be a little bit tense, especially with the house of Mars and Cancer. So balancing work and home can be a little bit tense, and that's really why I did state to you guys, you know, getting your home really organized, getting your routine in order. Be very fluid with your plans. And understand that, especially with this eclipse in Sagittarius, it can link to siblings, you know, growth, belief systems, and Mars being in the house of Cancer. All of our emotions, depending on what zodiac sign we are, we can be a little bit more tense, but it can be a great time for healing. Ironing out creases relating to home or related dynamics. You may be traveling a lot. You also may find devices may suddenly stop, repairs may be required. This can be plumbing related dynamics, emotions relating to grandmother energy. And, you know, even because we did have the full moon in Scorpio, it can still be lingering over to the following month. You also, between the 5th and the 6th, at an emotional level, you really need to pace yourself. Be very careful about emotional eating. Be careful about your vibration of health. You know, maintain healthy diet throughout the month, especially for your nervous system, and especially, you know, depending on who you're dealing with in your family, you know, helping them be aware of the transits so that they can cope with the dynamics that are coming up. But they can be super emotional at this time. Eating a healthy diet can really support you at this point. And definitely a lot of emotions relating to your connections can be coming up for you, Libra, between the 7th and the 9th. Now, as we move from the 9th through to the 12th, you then could be looking at deeper commitments, and you may be feeling really needing to be nurtured. You might be emotionally feeling like you need to do your beauty regimes, or, you know, change things up a bit. But definitely if you are stressed, you know, about connecting with loved ones that have passed over. These emotions can be coming up at this time. Some of you between the 13th and the 14th, there may be a lot of cross wires. You also may find that your mind is going at 100 miles an hour. You're needing to be a jack of all trades. And, you know, really being able to cope with that. At a drop of a hat, you may have a request to go out. That can be with friends. And really, but, you know, when it is like that during this month, it's probably going to be more positive than negative. And if you're needing a little bit of a break and moving into play, you know, just adhere to it. Try to be cautious again about forceful belief systems this month. And that's due to the fact that Mars is in Cancer and Mercury will be going retrograde. So yes, there can be, you know, unexpected activities that can come up. And just going fluid into it, but don't commit to anything that you're really not wanting to. This month, you also may find that your emotions, especially between the 18th and the 19th, may be led to the element of social activities again. And it might be like, okay, you're looking again at your bank account, looking at what you want to do, in the bigger picture, how you're interacting with groups, be it at work, how your family's directly being impacted by it. And keeping that balance there. Some of you could also have situations relating to your children, for those of you that have children, and it also can be relating to pregnancies and wanting to have them, and if you can adhere to that. But there could be themes relating to last year, at the beginning of the year, and anytime really last year. It's almost like themes coming over the last 6 to 12 months from now, moving towards this eclipse in Sagittarius. So those themes that were playing out back then can be replaying out now, especially around the point of May when the nodes shifted. With the Cancer Capricorn axis, you know, we are having certain themes coming up, especially because Mars is in this house. So we can be where we were, you know, dealing with home-related dynamics and, you know, having to potentially, some of us work from home or not being able to work and having family-related dynamics and maybe being unintentionally codependent on, you know, government payments and things to that degree. It could even be, you know, needing someone to help financially, i.e. whatever that was. Now a lot of shift has moved into your purpose, you know, how people are seeing you, but again, getting that healthy balance there, which Libras are great for, but it can be a point of, it's almost like a flip. It's almost like instead of it being all home, some of you may be thinking, hey, and it can be suddenly returning to work, so to speak, or looking for a different job. But creating a separation between the two, and that can even be just through organisation. Family directly, however, you know, really needing to have that compassion compass, maybe avoiding individuals where it can be very testing in communication, or being in that awareness and paying attention to your health. You may find you're more inclined to mix and socialise and hear from feminine energies, especially when it relates to emotions. There can be emotional outbursts this month. So if we're able to maintain that and look at it that we are all going through this, then we can be more in a higher octane vibration. But potentially both mother and sister energies can be coming through at this time, needing our support. There can be, for some of you, a renegotiation with your children, and that can be linking into responsibilities and really quality assuring those things, especially if it is directly affecting other areas of your life, and looking at that and coming to terms with it, renegotiating and ironing the creases out. Now, a lot of themes to do with our diet and health can be coming up, especially for your zodiac sign, Libra. Now, Jupiter has entered the house of Pisces this month. We can have themes that are quite hidden. We can be dealing with how psychology, our emotions can be affecting our health and our diet, especially because we did just have the full moon in Scorpio. Some of you may be shifting towards the more healthier octane of things, and it can be really shifting things about so it can be corrected. Some of us potentially may have felt that, you know, during lockdown we've gained weight and we're needing to balance those things out, and it can be emotions coming up where you know, sensitivity to environments and our emotions can be directly impacting us. So getting adequate sleep, drinking adequate fluid, you know, talking to a health profession if need be. health professional rather. With our nervous system as well, maintaining that healthy diet so that our system can be supported through the transits. Generally, from an esoteric astrology point of view, we can say, if we have been doing that, pouring that energy into your hopes and dreams and aspirations, but also creating healthy boundaries with other individuals so you can actually maintain your own personal identity. Emotionally, for all of the zodiac signs this month, we've got 2 placements that are hitting, and that's both the South Node in Sagittarius, the eclipse in Sagittarius, which is going to be the secondary update I do for your zodiac further on in the month. And because we have Gemini there and Mercury going into Gemini, which will be in retrograde, but also Juno, the house of relationships, in retrograde. So we may be more inclined to be very independent, and it's a temporary transit, but it's an assessment time. So try to not take people's values, thought processes as personal at the moment, but we can potentially, you know, and it's not that you can ever shift your own values. Your values are your values. So what you feel is correct for you doesn't mean to say it's going to be correct for somebody else, but that could directly impact all of us collectively. So being fluid, being flexible through the transits can maintain that health, but also focusing on your spirituality, you know, getting connected in with nature, doing things that are in spiritual alignment. I always say, you know, especially with Mercury retrograde in Gemini, it can be disorganized chaos, but it also can feel like too much is coming at you, needing to be a jack of all trades, and psychologically then how that directly impacts our forward motion and our growth. Some of you may really want to go on holiday and, you know, be able to follow your hopes and dreams, but have other senses of obligations. So use this time at the moment to check out what some of these themes are that are playing out. Take notes, because from the Jupiter placement, it can be bringing benefits of how to achieve those areas. And some of those themes, while it's in the house of Pisces, can be moving forward to 2022 to give us a bird's eye view of what can be coming up for us. So if we shift things about, we can have the most success as we are moving through this month and into our future. Now, the warning dates are towards the end of the video, but we are going to mention a lot to do with your chakras in this place of the report. It will balance out you dealing with your career, family, finances, hopes, dreams, and aspirations by understanding themes that can come up, where the emotions are coming from, what, where, why, and how. Now, between the 1st and the 2nd of May, we do have the moon transit in Capricorn, and you will find that very much home-related dynamics and stresses can come up, and this is solar plexus. So for the first 2 days, really important to eat your food gently. You can use music and meditation, go for a walk and de-stress. There may be frustration relating to repairs and things to that degree. What you're doing in your daily routine. So eat healthy to support the nervous system, but also move to the road of least resistance and try to not let those things get to you, especially when it comes to family and home. Okay, we then have from the 3rd to the 4th, we have a lot of Saturn element related dynamics. Now this does connect in with your 5th house. So again, I would say balance both the base chakra and the solar plexus. So walking, listening to guided meditation, maybe de-stressing, journaling can be a very good thing. So really about your stability, emotions relating to your home, stability, you being able to, you know, produce your finances, feeling safe, feeling understood, especially because we have Mars and Cancer. A lot of third eye can be coming through for a lot of us. So by eating the food groups relating to those 2 chakras, both the red, the yellow, and for the third eye, you know, really keeping the fluid up to clear it so that we can see the hay for the clouds. Okay, so between the date of the 5th and the 6th, we have the moon transiting Pisces. Now, it's really important to understand what's going on with your body. Your emotions and your psychology can be coming up. It is very crown chakra in nature. So keep your fluid up, keep your hydration up. If you feel the need to check your diet, get that in balance, but eat carefully. If you feel you've got too much on your plate, try and balance it. You will have the energy to deal with circumstances inside your career, but you're also going to need to take a little bit of time for self. The sacral chakra in this instance will be activated, so a lot of aggression can be there. So just bear in mind with that Pisces placement, the 6th house, create healthy boundaries, but don't mask people. If it's overactive, it'll come through very aggressively. If it is overactive, pour it into your creative pursuits. Again, go for a jog. Burn some of that energy off. Have a cold shower. Do something productive. Shift your nervous energy into productivity. If you find that it's sluggish and you're feeling like unmotivated and you're feeling that you can't pour it into anything, you get the balance back by eating the food groups, doing guided meditation, and addressing some of those areas by journaling, or come through for a coaching session. Definitely due to the fact it's Pisces, please keep up your crown chakra for the fluid. So adequate intake of fluid. Now, as we move towards the 7th and the 9th, we are having the moon transiting Aries. Now, as it transits through Aries, it can be all things to do with relationships. It can be the people that we're dealing with. It is in the house of Cancer. So again, work and commitments might be up for grabs where it's a bit emotional, but we may need to actually address our wounds. This can be a great time to turn over a new leaf inside our connections and talk about our emotions. This also can be relating into nervousness if you're trying to obtain a job. Now, it is solar plexus, so again, the yellow food groups, drinking lemon tea. This can be eating the yellow food groups, squash, marrow, guided meditation, going for a walk, moving, dancing, singing. This can all shift that. Try not to hit all your chakras at once, but wear the yellow. You can wear the color to do color therapy, aromatic oils, chamomile, and things to that degree. But again, always seek medical advice. This is from an astrological point of view to bear in mind where those pain body experiences can come from and how to deal with transits more effectively of self-mastery. Now, because it is Venus and we are talking about Venus for you guys, I will mention the fact that with Juno retrograde, your intuition, because it's moon energy, it might be, are we delusional? Are we seeing things correctly? Just sit with it a little bit, deal with it. Like I said, great time to journal and see the situation through. But emotions can be more passionate. It's almost taking on an element of base chakra / sacral chakra. So if you do find you're getting bloated, keep the fluid up, do a detox, and get into light body frequency. From the 10th to the 12th, we have the moon transiting Taurus. It will be on the 12th transiting into Gemini, but on the 3 days, there will be many subjects for your energy relating to endings, new beginnings. This can be finances. It can be the healthy give and take. It can be deeper intimacy. Plus, as I mentioned, we have Juno retrograde in the house of Sagittarius. It is heart chakra. So if you can balance the heart chakra, eating healthy, things can come up. Avoid excessive caffeine. Be careful with it. If you're used to it, still add the element of water in for hydration purposes. The food groups balancing nervous system energy can be really important. It's really unique that I decided to do this astrological chakra report because the transits are pretty heavy, and for our body, we do need to support it this month. Very important. Okay, from the 13th, and it's potentially the 12th as well, by 12:43, we have the moon transiting Gemini, and that's up to the 14th. So with that, we can have a very active mind. It's moon energy. We can have a lot going on. We may wish to go on holiday and have an existential break. Our value systems can be coming up. We can be very strong in our value systems, the way we feel. We also can be needing to take a trip due to relatives, etc. Regardless of the emotion, regardless of the transit, looking at the emotion relating to it, it can be throat chakra. So clear the throat chakra, speak effectively, come from a place of heart to balance that situation out. Our thoughts, our actions will count. Don't overburden yourself. Try to keep grounded. If you do feel you're really getting very off center, you're not really going to be inclined to do anything that you don't want to do. And if you are doing something you're really not enjoying at a passionate level and you're not taking the steps, especially because we have Jupiter in the 6th, you can be more frustrated. So only really commit to things, especially by this point in the month I'm discussing, because we are getting into the mid-month energy where we will have the shadow effect of Mercury going retrograde in Gemini. Now, the 15th and the 17th can be a very busy day for you guys, but you also can have emotions relating to career. This would be the warning dates I would give to you guys based on your career sector. It could be a very productive day, but it also could be one of those 3-day cycles, everything comes in threes, right, where you need to self-master. You'll have a lot of energy to pour into your career sector. There might be a lot going on. It could be super busy. With it being moon and emotion, self-mastery in the communication sector can benefit you at this time. Like I said, we do have Mars in Cancer. It's great for pouring energy into something, but definitely from your intuition, your hopes and dreams and aspirations, if there's disappointment there, move to the road to least resistance. Write down some of your creative ideas. Sit with the emotion. Be in self-awareness. It can be a lot of inner child wounds coming up, but it's also a bit of a testing time. So be cautious with feminine energies. Also be cautious with your frustrations and blowing up. And that will be for everyone collectively, but because it does connect in with your work and how people are seeing you, this can be a perfect time for you to show your true colors of you being very grounded and earthed in. Might be a great day to take a dive, but it could be very lucrative for you financially. Now, on the 18th and 19th, as I've mentioned, we are having the moon transit Leo. Now, Leo both links to heart chakra and third eye. It's very sun in energy. Emotions relating to these areas and themes can come up. Number one, in your chart, it can relate to the 11th house placement, which can be, you may deeply enjoy an activity. You may really hate an activity. It may be the groups you're connecting to that you feel you don't resonate. It can be changes of friendship groups. But emotions relating to these things can be positive or negative, but they can be heightened in the realm. Now, I would say, come from a place of love. Do some heart chakra clearing. For some of you, it could be really beautiful things happening. Others of you, because Mars is in Cancer, there could be emotions relating to that. This could be a very positive day to, have a social activity, but just keep account of expenses. And what do I mean by that? Because we are having a lot of Taurus placements, is important to balance where our financial commitments are, the give and take, and what we enjoy versus what we don't, in the bigger picture. So if you have a goal, so to speak, this would not be the day to emotionally spend or eat or throw things out. It would be better to sit with that emotion first and then decide to do that. Drop of the hat activities can come up, but definitely I would say, again, very heart chakra, and so it can be third eye, overthinking. It also can be a lot of energy pouring into things and burnout, mental fog. At a very separate level, it can be heart chakra and very passionate and loving. Now, if you do need support in these areas, or you do want a booking, like I said, you can go to the link below. Stay tuned for the updates. Let's get into the astrological aspects, and I'll see you also for the update the following week. I am live every Friday as well, so let's get into the astrological report. It also has the key dates that are really greatly and beneficially aspected and poorly aspected. So do watch through to the end. If you just want to see those dates, stream forward and it will show you them. Hi guys, welcome back. Okay, this is your bi-monthly energy update astrologically. Now, I am going to mention the tedious energies of where the placements are. Okay, we do have the new moon occurring on the 11th in the house of Taurus. The sun also currently is in Taurus and it will enter Gemini on the 20th. Mercury is in the house of Taurus and it will be entering the house of Gemini on the 9th and going into shadow retrograde by mid-month. Mars also is in the house of Cancer until June the 11th. So bear that in mind when it comes to your emotions. We're also going to be having Venus in Taurus up until the 9th, where it will transit into the house of Gemini. That can be where we are going to be super busy, but we will need this flexibility to be playful and to be ourselves and not be controlling. We're also towards mid-month 26 going to be having the total lunar eclipse in the house of Sagittarius. Now, the Astrology Big Boss states is the place where you need to be mindful of retrogrades and major transits. Jupiter will be entering the house of Pisces on the 13th of May 2021, and it can give you themes of what's going to happen in 2022. So it's a very important time to be having a look at those areas. Now, we will start feeling Saturn going into shadow by about the 15th, but you can potentially feel it earlier. It is occurring on the 23rd of May and it will go direct of the 1st. Pluto is also in retrograde in the house of Capricorn until the 6th of October. We also have, last but not least, Mercury in Gemini going into shadow by mid-month in the house of Gemini. So a lot of action, a lot of movement, some frustration, pre-warned, forearmed. Now, for your astrology best boss dates, we do have the 9th. Allow love to be fluid and be playful. On the 11th, deep clearing of emotions through actions and relations and relationships. On the 13th, make your dreams come true with beautiful aspects to Neptune. On the 1st to the 15th, get your resumes out and hold on to your hats as Mercury goes into shadow retrograde. Now, these are the astrology hard boss dates, but they're also very quickly some things to be very mindful of during this month and beyond. With Mars in Cancer, we can be guided to be quite emotional, and if we're suppressing things, we can be more upset and aggressive in nature. We also, with Mercury going retrograde, can have some confusion and need to slow down, especially when traveling. Cross all the T's, dot all the I's, and breathe. Now, the 2nd of May, caution with speech and travel, but be on the ball. On May the 11th, emotions and triggers can get the best of us, so try to avoid control. With Pluto and Capricorn retrograde until the 6th, we can feel a little bit nervous when it does come to endings and be coming to term with those things. Use it as a quality system. On the 14th, plan ahead, double check and read all your documents, keep your receipts as Mercury in the house of Gemini goes into shadow retrograde. If you enjoyed this video, please click the bell and please comment. I would love to hear your feedback, how this resonated with you and how this month travels for you. Do bear in mind, these are bi-monthly, so there is another update and it will cover the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. Stay tuned for your psychic updates relating to your romance house and anything else intuitive that comes through in your readings. There will be regular updates throughout the month, as well as every Friday I'm live and available for super chats. If you do want to join the members zone, I do have the Twin Flame coaching room, as well as extension reads and pre-release content very separately. This is how the website looks, so if you do want to jump on, it's very informative and easy to navigate. Inbox me if you have an issue, if you are wanting a booking. Take care, guys. Bye.